is the QTV Nightly News, which is also on Q Radio 103.3 FM, and I am Mam Nabuka. Thank you for joining us. Here are the main news headlines. The Chief Justice Hassan B. Jallow, who is also the chairman of the General Legal Council, on Wednesday presided over the swearing-in ceremony of the council's 8 new panel members. Since 2019, the Basse River has been steadily overflowing, causing frequent floods that affect surrounding communities. Recent heavy rainfall has intensified these surges, disrupting both daily life and local businesses. The Speaker of the Gambia's National Assembly, Honorable Fabakary Tombong Jatta, who is also the chairperson of the CPA Africa Region Executive Committee, led the Gambia's delegation to the 68th Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference CPC, which concluded recently in Barbados. In international news, veteran Kenyan politician Raila Odinga has died at the age of 80. As the son of Oginga Odinga, he was a key figure in early Kenyan post-independence politics. And in sport news, the Gambian National Boxing Association organized an exciting national boxing championship called the President's Cup for fighters across multiple weight divisions at the Westfield Youth Monument at the weekend. Those were the headlines. Now the news in detail. The Chief Justice Hassan B. Jallow, who is also the chairman of the General Legal Council, on Wednesday presided over the swearing-in ceremony of the council's 8 new panel members. Aissatou Barry reports.
General Legal Council, which is a key body responsible for regulating the legal profession and upholding professional standards within the Gambia's justice system, welcomed 8 new panel members following their recent appointment. The swearing-in ceremony at the High Court complex in Banjul is in line with efforts to reinforce public confidence in the legal system and further empower the council in its mandate to uphold the highest standards of justice and fairness. Hassan B. Jallow, the Chief Justice of the Gambia, highlighted the task and expectations of the newly sworn-in council members.
Your task, as was mentioned, is really to judicially investigate allegations made against legal practitioners concerning alleged violations of the Code of Conduct for legal practitioners. These are very, very important tasks which you need to approach judicially and fairly, and as you've sworn, without affection, ill will, or any favors, or to proceed judicially.
Chief Justice Jallow also emphasized the importance of setting up the council.
It is important that complaints by the public against legal practitioners are investigated and judicially determined, both for the public and for the legal practitioners concerned. Legal practitioners, members of the bar, are an indispensable part of the justice process. They are part and parcel of the justice process, and in order to maintain public confidence in the entire system, we must also have a bar which is respected, which is seen to uphold the Code of Conduct, to comply with the Code of Conduct.
Justice Ibrahim Ajaite, a judge of the High Court of the Gambia, is one of the newly sworn-in council members.
In discharging our responsibilities, we will be kind indulgence that we do it with diligence, fairness, independence, and impartiality. And also we should be able to deliver our decisions timeously, so at least after the end of the hearing, we were able to deliver the decision, and that those decisions should be fair to the best of our ability.
From ensuring that the council continues to perform its functions effectively, to overseeing legal practitioners' conduct, and advising on matters that safeguard the rule of law and ethical practice, these new members are expected to strengthen the council's capacity to advance professionalism within the legal sector and contribute to the continued consolidation of justice and the rule of law in the Gambia. Aissatou Barry, QTV News.
Since 2019, the Basse River has been steadily overflowing, causing frequent floods that affect surrounding communities. Heavy rainfall often intensifies these surges, disrupting both daily life and local businesses. This story by Samba Kamara is narrated by Juldenjai.
The Basse River serves as both a source of income and a critical route linking two key zones, facilitating the efficient movement of people and goods to markets throughout the region. Amid rising tides and the impacts of climate change, the Basse River is increasingly notorious for the destruction it causes. In 2024, areas including Basse Wharf Town, Madina Kabakama, Basse High Level, Basse Layout, Kerewan Badala and nearby communities were inundated, leaving families in distress, submerging rice fields and forcing businesses to close. As rising tides bring renewed flooding, community members and vendors fear the worsening condition could mirror the hardships of previous years. Alaji Nyang shared how difficult life used to be for them during severe floodings.
Some women crossing here to reach the market, including pregnant women, struggle to get through the water, and others cannot cross at all. That's why we assist them, charging $5 or $10 per person to reach the other side safely. Many fear the water due to dangers like snakes, and some have slipped and fallen.
Ajetu Jalo is a street vendor who operates in this area.
I sell fruits here, but my usual spot is on the other side. Every year, floods force us to relocate, disrupting our small earnings. Despite our efforts, rising waters make it extremely challenging, as we rely on these earnings to support our husbands and children.
Julaba Dabo, a local businessman, operates in Basse.
This happens every year. Last year, it destroyed many of my goods, and now it's happening again. We want the government to understand that we are suffering and have nowhere else to use as a market. If the government can create a market for us along the coastal road, it would be a great relief and protect us from future floods.
The recurring floods along the Basse River highlight the urgent need for intervention, protecting communities, supporting vulnerable residents, and implementing sustainable solutions are crucial to preserving livelihoods, ensuring safe transportation, and reducing the destructive impact of climate change in the region. For QTV News, I am Julde Yai.
The Speaker of the Gambia's National Assembly, Honorable Fabakary Tombong Jatta, who is also the chairperson of the CPA Africa Region Executive Committee, led the Gambia's delegation to the 68th Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference CPC, which concluded recently in Bridgetown, Barbados. Lolly M. Kamara reports.
The week-long conference, held under the theme The Commonwealth, a Global Partner, brought together more than 600 delegates from over 180 legislatures across the Commonwealth. Hosted by the Parliament of Barbados and the CPA Barbados branch, the gathering serves as a platform to strengthen parliamentary democracy and promote collaboration in addressing shared global challenges. Key discussions centered on climate change, digital transformation, transparency and trust in legislatures, as well as the use of technology and artificial intelligence to modernize parliaments and enhance public engagement. In her opening address, Her Excellency Dame Sandra Mason, President of Barbados, underscored the Commonwealth's responsibility to defend democracy and sustainable development, while her Prime Minister, Honorable Mia Amo Modley, echoed similar calls, urging collective action to confront the climate crisis, particularly its impact on small islands in developing states. The Honorable Fabakary Tombong Jatta, Speaker of the Gambia's National Assembly and Chairperson of the CPA Africa Region Executive Committee, highlighted the significance of the event and played a central role in the discussions around advancing dialogue on modernization, governance, and democratic cooperation among Commonwealth legislatures. The conference also featured parallel sessions of the Commonwealth Women Parliamentarians, CPP, CPA Small Branches, and Commonwealth Parliamentarians with Disabilities, CPDD networks, each focusing on inclusive governance and the election of new leadership within the CPA structure. The conference focused on the role of parliaments in safeguarding democracy, strengthening good governance, and addressing the impacts of climate change, particularly on small island developing states. The Gambian delegation actively participated in discussions that underscored the need for collaboration among member states to enhance democratic resilience and climate adaptation strategies. In a different engagement, the Honourable Speaker also paid a courtesy visit to the Gambia's High Commission's office in London, United Kingdom. Receiving them was the Deputy Head of Mission, Mr. Suntu Ture, who welcomed the delegation and provided a brief overview of the Gambia High Commission's role in London. He also highlighted the mission's multifaceted role, which includes managing bilateral and multilateral diplomatic relations, engaging in migration and policy dialogue, addressing diaspora affairs, and promoting the Gambia's image through active community diplomacy. Honorable Jatta commended the mission for its laudable and visible contributions in representing the Gambia abroad and encouraged the staff to continue serving the nation with dedication and professionalism. For QTV News, Loliam Kamara.
We will now go for a commercial break. When we return, we have national, international, and sports news stories. Do stay tuned.
What is food?
Food is life.
Food is memory, roots, land,
and the knowledge of our ancestors.
The wisdom passed down with every harvest.
Food is innovation.
Food is caring.
It's connections. It's culture.
It's the way we nurture each other.
Food is a right,
not a privilege.
Everyone deserves safe, nutritious food.
Food is our future on a plate.
80 years ago, the world set out to end hunger and malnutrition.
80 years ago, the world made a promise to grow, share, feed communities, and live better through food.
But today, hunger persists in spite of the best efforts of farmers,
women and men, youth,
indigenous peoples,
who work with courage and care.
This World Food Day, let's walk forward.
Hand in hand.
Honoring traditions.
Cultivating new ideas.
Engaging in innovation.
Feeding communities.
Transforming how we grow.
Nurturing and harvesting a better future.
To leave no one behind.
Every action, big or small, brings us closer to a better life.
We each have a role to play.
When we join together across borders, cultures, and generations,
we are part of the solution.
The future of food
belongs to all of us.
Hand in hand for better foods
and a better future for everyone.
Immunisation ba ñàkku mooy li gën a wóor te dal xel ci aar xale yi ci feebar mbaa jàngoro yu mel ni ngas ñu naan ko measles feebaru saxat su bon si di tuberculosis polio feebari sedda ñu naan ko pneumonia cervical cancer tétanos ak yeneeni jàngoro xale bu juddu dafa soxla ay péngu si saasi mbaa bés bu mu juddu maanaam balaa mooy am 20 waxtu ak ñeent am na solo lool xale yi mbaa tuut tànk yi góor ak jigéen jël péngu yiñ leen tegtal ci waxtu bu ñu ko war a jëlee comme ni ñu ko bindee ci seen kayiti noosi mbaa infant welfare card xale yépp war nañoo am bépp péngu bu ñu soxla bokk na ci xale yi laago yi xale yi war nañoo jël te matal bépp péngu bu ñu war a am ci seeni njëlbeeni at ak ay yeneeni péngu bu ñu duggee ci seen ñaareeli at am na ci péngu yoo xam ne xale yi dinañu ko jël ay yooni yoon ngir génn na mun a aar ñuy ñaax waajuri ak ñi yore xale yi di leen toppatoo ne saa yu ñuy dem lopitaan ñu yóbbaale kayti noosi xale yi mbaa infant welfare card ngir am lu wóor ci mbir immunisation bi mbaa ñàkku xale yi mun ngeen a dem ci bérébu fajeekaay bi leen gën a jege xibaar bii ñi leen ko indil mooy waa Ministry of Health ànd ak UNICEF Gavi WHO ak seen yeneeni naataango
Welcome back, and this is QTV News. Her Excellency Madame Ami Fabouré presented her letters of credence as the Gambia's ambassador to the Republic of Guinea to General Mamadi Doumbouya, the country's president, at the Presidential Palace in Conakry. More in this report.
Ambassadors to present letters of credence to the Guinean president. In a somewhat unusual move, the ambassadors did not arrive individually but were all taken to the Presidential Palace in a single coach. Images shown on Guinean state TV show the ambassadors mingling and chatting on their way to the presentation ceremony. In addition to President Doumbouya, members of his cabinet and ever-present General Amara Kamara, the Minister for Presidential Affairs, and Honorable Jiba Jakite, the Minister and Director of Cabinet of the Presidency, were among those in attendance. The ambassadors presenting credentials were from almost all corners of the globe, with those present coming from Sierra Leone, China, Cuba, Switzerland, Angola, and Italy. Here is Daniel James Owen Shepherd, the UK's ambassador to Guinea.
I have the honour to present to you the letters of credence by which His Majesty, King Charles III, accredits me to you as Ambassador, Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary, as well as the letters of recall of my predecessor.
After the presentations, ambassadors took two turns to address the state broadcaster. Speaking French, Liberia's ambassador Fork Pagizi Sr., among other comments, said,
Le Libéria et la Guinée sont liés non seulement par la géographie.
Liberia and Guinea are linked not only by geography, but we are also linked by history. And now we are also linked by blood. Guinea is the only country in the world that is home to 5 of the ethnic groups that are in Liberia, and 90% of the rivers that flow on Liberian soil have their source in Guinea.
Madame Ami Fabouré also spoke to the media afterwards and said,
La Gambie et la Guinée.
Gambia and Guinea share the same realities. They are the same. The only thing in communication is language, since Gambia speaks English and Guinea speaks French. Otherwise, these two countries share the same realities. And in terms of collaboration, I would like the two governments and their ministries to sit together and share ideas and talk about the common interests of these nations, such as sports, agriculture, and other areas where they can share their expertise and especially increase trade also. Other ambassadors to present credentials include those from Belgium, the European Union, Indonesia, India, Kenya, and Burundi. From 2021, when the military junta took over, to 2025, many foreign diplomats have been accredited to the Republic of Guinea, while in the same period, 40 Guinean ambassadors have been appointed across Africa and the rest of the world. Mam Nabuka, reporting for QTV News.
The Gambia Press Union, GPU, in partnership with the Women Journalists Association of the Gambia, WOJAC, with support from UNESCO, commenced a 4-day training program for 21 female journalists on physical security and online safety. Jacqueline Coley reports.
In the Gambia and elsewhere, journalists have to report on situations where things could turn tense or dangerous. The training is designed to equip participants with standard procedures for operating in hostile environments, including developing safety plans, implementing risk reduction strategies, preparing contingency arrangements using event risk checklists, and responding effectively to emergencies and attacks. Organizers say the first 2 days will focus on physical safety and security, with the remaining sessions dedicated to digital safety and online protection. Aissatou Keita, president of the Gambia Press Union, emphasized the importance of this initiative in empowering women journalists to stay safe while performing their duties responsibly.
Through this project, we want to ensure that newsroom becomes safer and more respectful spaces for women, and that female journalists can work freely, confidently, both online and in the field. We also look towards supporting media houses to adopt and enforce the GPU sexual harassment policy and to set up internal mechanisms to handle complaints. Equally important, we will continue to train and equip women journalists with the practical knowledge and skills they need to assess risk protect themselves, and respond effectively when their safety or dignity is threatened.
Annette Kamara, president of the Women Journalists Association of the Gambia, described the training as timely, citing recent cases where female journalists in the Gambia face threats, harassment, and violence. She emphasized that such incidents undermine press freedom and jeopardize journalists' safety.
We have witnessed 2 incidents or 3 incidents that have happened within the last 2 months with women that have covered the protests, and we have seen how some were physically assaulted and how some were badly treated. And of course, we have seen the growing concern online with threats coming from political parties towards women journalists, and it is a call for concern, and this is really fundamental, and it's damn necessary that this training is timely, and it should happen because it needs to help women journalists know how to protect themselves and their safety.
Maimuna Sidibe, Secretary General of the Gambia National Commission for UNESCO, commended the government for prioritizing journalist safety at home and abroad and acknowledged the vital role of civil society organizations like the GPU. She noted, however, that journalists still face persistent challenges.
Still too many challenges prevail, including high levels of impunity for crimes against journalists, a rise in the number of journalists detained, and increased legal harassment against them. Online violence, the use of surveillance tools to hinder the journalists' work, increased attacks on women journalists, and the risk of killing in non-conflict environment.
Over the next 4 days, journalists will learn standard procedures including social media guidelines and security protocols to help them perform their duties safely and responsibly. Reporting for KTV News, I am Jacqueline Guli.
Coming up next is international news. Veteran Kenyan politician Raila Odinga has died at the age of 80. As the son of Odinga, a key figure in early Kenyan post-independence politics, his passing marks the end of an era. More in this report by Ade Darami.
Kenyans are mourning the passing of one of their most iconic political sons, Raila Omolo Odinga, a towering figure in African politics. Odinga was more than a politician. He was a symbol of defiance, resilience, and hope. For decades, he stood at the heart of Kenya's long march towards democracy. He was imprisoned, exiled, and yet he was never silenced. Born into the legacy of leadership, Odinga carved his own path through the turbulence of Kenya's political evolution. He was a fighter who turned loss into resolve, a unifier who dared to dream of a just and inclusive nation. Whether in the streets or in Parliament, his voice echoed the frustration and the aspirations of millions. He sought but never attained the highest political office, that of the presidency, but he was Prime Minister from 2008 to 2013. Odinga died on 15th October 2025 from cardiac arrest after he collapsed while walking at a hospital in India, where he was receiving medical treatment. In November 2024, the Vice President of the Gambia, His Excellency Mohamed B.S. Jallow, welcomed Odinga at Banjul International Airport, where the latter was on a West African tour seeking support for his candidacy as the African Union chairman. At the airport, he held a brief meeting with the Vice President and had a phone conversation with President Barrow, who at the time was on the Meet the People tour. Following these engagements, he continued his journey to neighboring Senegal.
But I'm here as the African lion. I've been asleep in the jungles of the Congo. But now I'm awake, and I'm sitting on African gold, African oil, African diamonds, African iron and copper ores. I'm sitting on African bauxite. I'm sitting on African lithium and coltan and uranium. And I have the ability to transform all these materials that I have into wealth for the benefit of my people, and claim the 21st century as an African century. End of the message from African Lion.
President William Ruto paid tribute to Odinga as a beacon of hope and a father of our democracy. A 7-day period of mourning has also been declared in Kenya. Odinga will also be accorded a state funeral with full military honors, according to President Ruto. For QTV News, I am Ade Darame.
May his soul rest in eternal peace. And now on to sport news. The Gambia National Boxing Association organized an exciting national boxing championship called the President's Cup for fighters across multiple weight divisions at the Westfield Youth Monument on Saturday. Our sports reporter Momodu Gajaga was there and he now reports.
A showcase of raw talent marked the launch of the National Boxing Championship Season 2, with young Gambian boxers delivering powerful punches, sharp jabs, and impressive footwork. The crowd erupted in cheers with every well-placed hit and knockout, showing unwavering support for the fighters in the ring. In a trailing bout, Gorangom emerged victorious over Musa Keita after 3 intense rounds. This year's tournament built on the success and strong public support for Season 1. With a new world-class boxing ring provided by the International Boxing Association (IBA), Gambian boxers are now inspired to compete in a professional and well-equipped environment. The event was filled with excitement, highlighted by a lively halftime performance from Gambian artist Hussein Dada, whose captivating songs energized and thrilled the spectators. When the senior boxers, particularly the heavyweights, stepped into the ring, the atmosphere intensified as they showcased raw power, endurance, skill, and relentless resilience. It was a true clash of the titans, where only the strongest prevailed in a test of strength and stamina. Boxing in the Gambia is steadily growing, with recent successes in regional, sub-regional, and continental competitions. The sports future looks promising. Mamudu Gajaga, QTV News.
Before we end, here's a recap of the headlines. The Chief Justice Hassan B. Jallow, who is also the chairman of the General Legal Council, on Wednesday presided over the swearing-in ceremony of the Council's 8 new panel members. Since 2019, the Basse River has been steadily overflowing, causing frequent floods that affect surrounding communities. Recent heavy rainfalls has intensified these surges, disrupting both daily life and local businesses. The Speaker of the Gambia's National Assembly, Honorable Fabakary Tombong Jatta, who is also the chairperson of the CPA Africa Region Executive Committee, led the Gambia's delegation to the 68th Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference (CPC), which concluded recently in Barbados. In international news, a veteran Kenyan politician, Raila Odinga, has died at the age of 80. As the son of Oginga Odinga, he was a key figure in early Kenyan post-independence politics. And in sport news, the Gambia National Boxing Association organized an exciting national boxing championship called the President's Cup for fighters across multiple weight divisions at the Westfield Youth Monument at the weekend. That's all for today's news bulletin. Do join us again at 10 p.m. for another bulletin. Thanks for watching.